So again, a big welcome to friends from all over the world. I know that tonight we have a really big international crowd. So yeah, really happy to be really sharing, what I've known about Celeva and all its benefits. Now, those who know me knows that I love stories. So I'm going to start with a little story here, okay? Now you see this handsome gentleman down here. Now those who, this is actually my good friend called Edwin Chow. Okay. Now myself and Edwin, we have known each other for more than 30 years now. Yeah. And, just 2 weeks ago, I happened to be in KL because I was conducting a course there. And I actually took the opportunity to catch up again, with him. And yes, that lady, that pretty lady down there is called Yun Cheng. Okay, Yun Cheng is actually Edwin's wife. And it was very interesting because his wife was actually sharing me how Celeva had actually helped to improve Edwin's health. He actually described to me that within 3 months of the husband taking Celeva, now not only did it help his body to detoxify, it also helped him to reduce his weight from 85 kg to approximately about 78 kg now. And his BMI is currently at a healthy level, and he's really, really happy. Well, nothing really beats feeling of actually, making a positive impact on someone's life. Now, that's why I'm so passionate about this evening, sharing. And for me, it's important that many people, as many as people as possible, learn about Celeva and how it can help bring, health benefits to them. Now, the stories that you're going to be hearing today, are really that of our friends and customers, right? Now, although the results may vary from person to person, now I'm very sure that if you get started on it, you will definitely feel the benefits of taking Celeva. Now, the world is indeed facing a health crisis. Now, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, it did come as a new word to you. Now, today, I'm going to introduce you to this word called non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases. And it's actually the most common liver disease worldwide. Now, it's estimated that it actually affects about 38% of the global population. And then in Asia, the rate, is roughly about 30%. Well, which means that today, if I were to count all the number of people that's attending tonight's talk, out every 10 of you, okay, 3 of you are likely to have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Now, this has, contributed to obesity. Now, obesity too has become a global epidemic. In fact, the World Health Organization reckons that about 39%, yes, very high figure, 39% of the adults worldwide are overweight, and 13% of them, are considered to be obese. And, because of all this obesity, fatty liver disease, it actually has led to a rise in cardiovascular disease. And how serious is it in Singapore? Well, in Singapore, approximately 23 people dies every day from cardiovascular disease, which means heart attack, right? And, if you were to look at all the deaths every day, almost 1 out of every 3 deaths in Singapore is really due to heart diseases or stroke. Now, isn't that scary, right? Now, in places like Singapore, and also many places, many parts of Asia, including, Philippines and some of these countries, in fact, we are seeing a big rise in this, what we call the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And in fact, it's become a big, big major health concern. Now, the thing is, this is very interesting because, I was very fortunate to meet this, very charismatic gentleman. He's actually called Professor Mike Chan, right? When he was in Singapore last year to share about Celeva. Yes, Professor Mike Chan is one of the scientists that actually discovered Celeva, right? During the talk, Professor Mike was sharing that Celeva is a supplement that everyone must be aware of to add quality life to our longevity. Now, I will always remember what he actually shared. He said, we are actually as young as the biological age of our brains and all the other organs. Now, we may not be able to stop aging, but hey, we can reverse it biologically, well, normally by about 8 to 10 years. And we can delay the progression of aging. And in doing so, you add quality life to our longevity, not just years to our lives. And this is really one of the key reasons, right? Why Professor Mike and his scientists, together with Avita created Celeva to really tackle this very worrying health trend in the world that's affecting many. Yeah, we were having fun that day when we were having talk. Now, this is interesting because one of the key research area for Professor Mike and his group of Swiss scientists, right, was in the area of cell membrane therapy. Now, what was interesting is during their research, what they found was that with the right type of cell membrane therapy, it can bring about a variety of health benefits. And what do these include? These include, helping with clearing the plaque deposits, which is a major cause of stroke and heart attack. You have to unclog arteries and blood vessels. Well, it even improves the heart, the liver, the pancreas, and the kidney function. And more important, it's also instrumental in helping to prevent dementia and Alzheimer. Now, this is indeed good news, right? Now, in order for us to understand cell membrane therapy, let's first understand what is this thing called choline. Now, it is interesting because many people haven't really heard about it. Now, choline at first is neither a vitamin nor is a mineral, but yet it is a very vital nutrient that many of y'all may not have heard of. Maybe today is the first day you have heard of this thing called choline. Yeah. Now, although our body do make some of choline, some of the things that we need, we get the majority of our choline from our diet. Well, then, for those of you who love eating, says that, wow, I love eating, so I'm sure that I've got my fair share of choline. Now, why is choline so important? If you think about it, choline helps in the repair of our cell membranes. Now, what is the cell membrane? We all have cells. We all mix up blocks of cells, right? Now, the cell membrane, think of it, is like a protective wall around the cell. And when the cell membrane gets damaged, it's like having cracks in the protective wall around the cells. Now, so what does choline do? Now, choline is like a key ingredient, like the ingredient that goes to make cake or whatever. It's like a key ingredient that's used to make these special bricks that actually make up this protective wall. Now, these special bricks are called phosphatidylcholine. Some people has a name called PPC, which is actually used to patch up all these cracks and keep the wall intact. Now, for our cells to work properly, it's important that this membrane need to be strong and flexible, like a sturdy and yet very pliable balloon. And actually, choline helps to maintain this balance, ensuring that the cells can move and stretch without breaking. Now, isn't that important? Now, in fact, in US, it's interesting because it is estimated that in US alone, about 90% of Americans do not take enough choline through their daily diet. Now, I'm sure it's not surprising too that many people, including those here in Asia, we may be choline deficient without realizing it. Now, studies have shown that choline deficiency has been linked to many different health conditions, including liver and muscle damage, as well as, the weakening of the cell membrane integrity. Now, this actually causes the cells to be more vulnerable to oxidative stress damage when they're attacked by free radicals. Right. So these are some. So if you take a look at some of the symptoms, these are just really some of the symptoms, that indicates, choline deficiency. Right. Now, what is interesting is beginning in the 1950s, Professor Mike and his team of Swiss researchers have already been doing a lot of intensive research into the use of choline as a cell membrane nutrition. And it was really years of this research and development that finally resulted in the creation of this multifaceted nutritional supplement called Celeva. And it is now made available to the world by Avita. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you Celeva from Switzerland. Just sit back and enjoy the video.
People today have gained a stronger consciousness about health. However, they too face increasing pressures and anxiety in life. These unseen pressures coupled with environmental pollution and unhealthy living habits, such as smoking, alcoholism, reducing sleep, etc., will cause a great health crisis to you, potentially leading to a loss of appetite for some, while others skip meals completely. Even if you consume all varieties of fishes, meats, vegetables, fruits, vitamins A to Z. Are you eating healthily? You slowly become obese, bloated, and fatigued, losing your physical strength over time. Every day, you sit at your desk at work, and when you are home, you sit in front of the TV. You hardly to move around, not to mention exercise, accumulating body fat and cholesterol in your belly and hips day and night. With each passing day, your physical fitness declines, and aging comes creeping in early. Your internal organs and blood vessels get covered by fat and cholesterol. They accumulate to form plaques that block and hinder the smooth flow of blood in your arteries. The blood vessels of the human body are responsible for transporting oxygen and other important nutrients to all parts of the body. When the vascular flow is hindered, it leads to insufficient blood circulation to the heart, insufficient oxygen to the brain, insufficient supply of nutrition, most importantly protein, to the cells of the entire body. Issues such as fatty liver and cognitive decline could set in. Potentially, the situation can worsen, leading to strokes and heart disease, etc. Enter Celeva, an exclusive multifaceted proprietary supplement from Switzerland. Celeva can help you lower cholesterol, fatty plaques, along with other harmful effects in your body and blood vessels. Celeva's global exclusive proprietary formula, phosphocholine complex, promotes a healthier, more vibrant you by supporting cellular, cardiovascular, liver, kidney, gastrointestinal, and cerebrum health. It is especially powerful in getting rid of stubborn belly fat, helping you lose weight for a slimmer, healthier body. Celeva is Swiss-made in compliance with GMP and ISO standards. 100% plant formula, non-genetically modified, gluten-free ingredients, sophisticated scientific research, experienced R&D team, quality assurance, excellent performance. Celeva, the exclusive proprietary supplement for a vibrant and active you.
Well, thank you, Avita, for the wonderful video. Now, really launched in the 7th November 2021 in Singapore, Celeva has transformed the life of many people around the world. Now, Celeva is really formulated with these two key ingredients, right? Now, the key ingredient is actually a patented proprietary phosphocholine complex that brings about multiple benefits. Now, first and foremost, Celeva is made in Switzerland, and you and I know that the Swiss are known for their high quality and safety standards. Now, more interesting, it has over 90% high purity plant-based active ingredients extracted from the high-grade non-GMO soy shoots. And it's really this Swiss technology that enables this high purity to be achieved, differentiating these from other choline products you may have come across in the outside market. In addition, the benefits, of all this research done by Professor Mike and his team are supported by multiple publications and books worldwide. Now, let me just dig a little deeper into this, what is phosphocholine. Now, explain what makes Celeva so different from, maybe some of you could have come across some choline products in the market, in the pharmacies now. More important is this patented proprietary phosphocholine complex. It's a blend of 3 choline compounds, right? Now, these 3 choline compounds is this choline compound that actually makes Celeva so effective when consumed orally, right? Now, this phosphocholine complex is also stabilized by the addition of tocopherols, which reduces the risk of lipid oxidation, right? So these 2 ingredients is really what makes the Celeva so potent, right? Now, Celeva really brings about these 4 key health benefits, right? Now, first, it promotes a very healthy cell membrane. Now, after that, it actually supports a very healthy, various healthy brain functions. And then it brings about, it promotes healthy cholesterol balance, and it also helps us to maintain our vascular health. And finally, very important, it supports a healthy liver function. Now, let's start by looking at all these points in detail to help you understand how it works, right? Now, everyone knows that the human body itself contains approximately, roughly about 50 to about 100 trillion cells. Now, these cells, what do? They make up our organs and tissues as well as, help to defend our body as part of our immune system. Now, these cells, they provide structure for the body. They take in nutrients from food and they convert those nutrients into energy and carry out very specialized function. Now, each of these cells in our body is actually wrapped in this membrane called a phospholipid bilayer. Okay, a phospholipid bilayer. I'm going to just circle that for you to see, right? Now, remember me saying that choline helps to build up this special phospholipid bricks called phosphatidylcholine. Now, some people actually call it PPC. Now, so Celeva actually contains this PPC that ensures that our normal healthy membrane structures, really protecting our cells very well. And when you protect the cells very well, then your functions of the cells can function very well. Now, this is where one of the big differentiating factor, right? Not all PPCs are the same, right? Not all PPCs are the same. The purity of the PPC in Celeva is actually 90%. Whereas many out there, are at 70% or lower. And that is why the effect of the PPC is so high in the Celeva that's actually, distributed by Avita. Now, let me show you what happens when your cell membrane is healthy. Now, a very healthy cell membrane, you can think about it as the membrane itself is very soft and permeable. Now, why is that important? Because when you consume nutrients, this allows your cells to be able to take in all these nutrients because it goes through the cell membrane. Now, more important is, as our cells function, they also produce metabolic waste. And this metabolic waste also needs a very good cell membrane so that it can get easily discharged out from the cell. Now, let's look at what an unhealthy or damaged cell membrane looks like. It becomes very hard and rigid. And because when it becomes very hard and rigid, your cells cannot absorb nutrients effectively. Now, what makes it worse is neither can now the cell discharge all the metabolic waste it created. Now, this is really double trouble, right? First, your cells are already not getting all its required nutrients so that it can actually be strong and healthy. Now it's being poisoned by the metabolic waste that it cannot discharge out easily, right? Now, definitely over the long term, your cells would slowly become more and more unhealthy. And that is really when all sorts of health conditions starts appearing, right? So again, remember the high purity of PPC in Celeva ensures that your cell membrane stay strong and healthy. Now, meet Claire. Now, Claire was one of the very first person to test our Celeva when it was first launched. And it was very interesting because, her lifestyle, as she was sharing in her video, she sleeps late, she didn't eat healthily, she over time, actually, she started gaining weight. And she tried a lot of stuff to kind of reduce her bulging tummy. It didn't quite work. So when, she was more than willing to try Celeva when Celeva was first brought in, and then we wanted to understand how its effect. So she started taking one daily after lunch. And what was interesting is within, the first few days, she already noticed first thing is the frequency of her bowel movements increased, right? And then she actually found a lot like creamy oil being excreted out during her bowel movement, in the bowel, in the poo-poo, and in her urine. In fact, she also found that, as she took more and more, right, Celeva also helped her to reduce her water retention. So that's why when your cell membranes are healthy, right, your body actually starts to shed out all these waste that, is probably being accumulated, and then, once it becomes healthy, it starts to clear out all these things from Claire's body. And you can see as a result of that, Claire actually, her waistline gone from, really big before. You can see within 12 days, she has slimmed down because she has like purged a lot of, toxins from her body within that first 2 weeks, right? Now, let's look at the next function. Now, Celeva also supports a very healthy brain function. right? Now, this phosphatidylcholine complex in Celeva, it can rapidly deliver choline to our brain across the blood-brain barrier. And directly, what this does is it boosts the production of this thing called acetylcholine. Now, acetylcholine is very interesting, right? Because acetylcholine is like a messenger that carries signals between your brain cells. It's like a messenger that carries signals from one brain cell. And of course, what this does is help with memory, your learning, and also your muscle control. In fact, acetylcholine is so important to our brain function that a shortage of it can result in things like poor concentration, maybe slow or confused thinking, forgetfulness, maybe sometimes even difficulty in recalling things, and then your mood swings, stress, or even sometimes your memory gets affected, right? Now, in fact, in many neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, they find that the level of acetylcholine in these people are often at a very low level. And of course, if this continues dropping, it makes it harder for the brain cells to communicate, leading to symptoms like memory loss and confusion. Now, without sufficient acetylcholine, the brain's ability to function properly really declines. And of course, this will contribute to the progression of these neuro diseases. It becomes it progresses faster and faster. In fact, a lot of research is currently being done in this area. And that's why one of the big favor that we can really do for ourselves is to ensure that we're taking enough good quality choline to keep all our brain functions healthy. Now, the next important thing is really this, right? Because I'm sure many of you know what this is like. The phosphatidylcholine complex can also help keep our arteries clear and healthy. How does that do that? It does that by breaking down the fats. The PPC that I was talking about in Celeva, it helps to break down the fats and also cholesterol in the body. Now, when these fats are broken down properly, they become less likely to build up in the arteries and form plaques, right? Now, what's the other important thing is this choline also helps to convert this thing called homocysteine into harmless substances and thus keeping our arteries safer. So this compound is very important in also helping to keep our arteries clear. Now, let's look at what are some of the positive effects that Celeva has on our blood lipids, right? You realize that, wow, the LDL goes down, which is good news. The HDL goes up, which is also better news because that actually is the one that carries all the cholesterol to the liver to get rid of it. Then interesting, you realize that it also lowers the triglyceride levels, okay? And of course, it will lower down the homocysteine level. Now, of course, this may sound very scientific, but more important is when all these things happen, it reduces your risk of a stroke, a heart attack, or even a heart failure. Now, let me share with you, this is my good friend Chongping, okay? And Chongping was also one of the very first ones that actually started testing out Celeva when it was first brought into Singapore. Now, at that time, it was COVID. And then, of course, Chongping being a very active person, found that, wow, okay, he started a series of morning walks, right, during the pandemic so that he could get out from the house. I think many of us do that too. Now, what happened is, with that addition of the exercise, in about 8 months' time, when he went to do his blood test, it just shows that his triglyceride level dropped, right, from 221 to 204. Hey, good news, right? Well, just about then, Celeva was just introduced. So, Chongping, in addition to all his regular morning walk, started, taking it daily and monitoring his results. Well, after 3 months, to his surprise, right, his triglyceride level has now dropped from 204 to 168. Now, you think about it, this is more than twice of what he achieved during the first months of just walking exercise. So when he actually complemented that with Celeva, wow, he actually really showed in his results. And of course, this beautiful lady is Dr. Nelly, my good friend. Dr. Nelly happened to be the sister of Chongping. Okay, and despite being a doctor, he knew that cholesterol issue, runs in the family, right? So after he hear many good testimonials about Celeva, especially from the brother, she also decided that she wanted to try out Celeva. And you can actually see after just 6 months, right? And she was very systematic. She actually monitored her rate of drop, and she also realized her triglyceride level has reduced, wow, from 179 to 152. Now, this would not have been very difficult without like wow, very strict diets and lots of exercise. And we in Singapore, we love to eat, right? So, and then, of course, with the addition of Celeva, it has really helped Dr. Nelly to bring her cholesterol back under control. Now, this is when I want to introduce a very good friend of mine called Christopher. I think she's on the line today. So let me invite Christopher on and share his story. Chris, are you on the line?
Hi, Kit.
Hey,
Good
Chris. All
evening.
right, Chris, come. Let's share with everybody your wonderful story.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, a little background. I have been in corporate life for more than 40 years. And in the last 20 years of my corporate life, I was I was a financial controller, chief executives, and I did a lot of investor relations because it was a public company and also fundraising. Now, all these activities, of course, involve a lot of travel and entertainment. And as a result, with that kind of lifestyle, one could imagine that it is not most healthy as far as cholesterol and related stuff like that is concerned. And then I joined, I came across Avita, and I started taking some Celeva until I heard Professor Mike Chan, the same professor that Kate spoke about. I was in the same conference. And after hearing him, I decided to take 2 Celeva capsules per day. And what surprised me that after, well, not quite surprising, it showed that in my subsequent blood tests, which are lipid or cholesterol markers, I see improvements. I had one in, the meeting with professor was around end of August. I had a test in November, and I saw that there was some improvement over my last test, which was done in February of 2023. And then subsequently, I did another test just a few months ago in February of this year. And I was very delighted to see that my cholesterol markers have improved by at least 25% across, whether it is total cholesterol or the LDL or the triglycerides. And in fact, even my HDL has improved by 17% over the 1 year period. So my persistent high cholesterol is moving in a very dramatic way. And I have to give credit to Celeva for making that happen. Thank you, Kate.
Wow, thank you, Chris. Always wonderful to hear stories. And Chris is just one of those many of us, who have actually, very scientifically test out Celeva to make sure that, our profiles, are improved, right? Now, what is the advantages of unclogging the arteries? Okay, now this becomes very important, right? Now, do you realize that our whole body are filled with arteries? So even the heart, the brain, the liver, and the kidney. Now, when arteries get clogged up, right? These are really some of the things that can happen. So, for example, the arteries leading to the heart, if they get blocked up, you can lead to things like chronic heart disease, heart attack, right? And if this is the brain, the arteries get blocked, it may even get to things like stroke, loss of memory, and sometimes, it could be a cause of, over a long period of time, Alzheimer's, right? And in the liver, it leads to fatty liver disease. And of course, you all know that if it gets stuck, leading to the kidney becomes unhealthy, there is always that possibility of renal failure, right? And this is when, by unclogging the arteries to all these organs, right, it brings a lot of benefits, to help with all this kind of condition. Now, another very interesting benefit that we have seen, right, we actually realized that, with the improved blood flow, when you take Celeva, people with varicose veins have actually noticed very marked improvement in their condition. And this has actually bring comfort to many people, right? So the PPCs in Celeva has been very helpful to many people who has a varicose veins on the legs. Now, the next one, I think all the guys need to take note of this. This is erectile dysfunction. Now, about 40% of men, by the time they reach 40, are actually affected by what we call ED, right? And, by the time they reach 70 years old, nearly 70% of the men are affected. And ED is often caused by clogged arteries, and this is where the PPC in Celeva plays such a good role in clearing up the clogged arteries, help restore blood flow, and hey, it may actually help this condition to improve. So, men out there who's listening in, if you are trying to find a solution to this problem, well, maybe Celeva could be your savior. Okay. Now let me introduce you to a friend called Mr. Patrick Morier. Now, Patrick Morier was also one of the friends who was one of the very first people who tried Celeva, right? He was actually a friend of one of our leader called Joey, right? He was a senior executive in the construction industry. Now, because of his lifestyle and frequent flying, the varicose vein on his legs, started developing, and it became very bad. It became so bad that doctors actually wanted to schedule surgery for him. Now, fortunately, in August 2021, he was introduced to Celeva, and he started taking 2 capsules daily. Now, within 3 weeks, you can look at the pictures, within 3 weeks, it's so obvious that the dark varicose vein had lightened up significantly. In fact, by 17th of September, you can actually see the change in the color of his legs from before, right? And then the bulging varicose vein, which was very obvious in the first picture, has almost flattened out. Now, the other very interesting thing that he kind of shared with us was that, his eye floaters that's been having for the past 2 years also disappeared. So, so that for those of you who may be looking for solutions for varicose vein, you can, consider maybe Celeva would be able to help you with it, right? Now, the next thing I want to share is the liver. Now, liver is a very important organ because for those of you who know that, the liver and the gallbladder forms, a major part of our body's detoxification system. Right now, the phosphorylcholine complex in Celeva, it actually promotes the transportation of lipids of what we call fats or cholesterol away from the liver to be broken down into fatty acids. Then this is really then used by your muscle cells as an energy source. Now, by improving the cell membrane of the liver, right, your liver starts to become healthy. It actually provides optimal liver plasma membrane fluidity, right, which then protects the livers against what we call lipid peroxidation, which is caused by free radicals. Now, this phosphorylcholine complex, right, in Celeva also increases the amount of choline and lutein in the body. Now, this is an essential nutrient that actually supports our liver detoxification function. Now, that's why, this lady also was one of the very first ones that started trying out at Celeva, right, when it was first launched, right? And because she was in the entertainment industry and she ran her own bar, of course, her work nature was not very healthy, right? She sleeps late, she drinks a lot due to the nature of the work. And, she had almost given up hope trying to do anything about her cholesterol level, right? Cholesterol level was high, fatty liver started appearing, and she felt very bloated. And when she was first introduced to Celeva and she started taking it daily for a while, right, she realized that, wow, not only did it help her to lose weight, right, more important, his cholesterol level started rebalancing back again. And the best news is doctor told her that her fatty liver was also gone. Right, I'm so happy that, she is just one of many that's experienced such benefits, right? Now we talk about improving liver function. I really must get this friend here to share his story. Okay, I believe James is with us today. So I'll let James share his story and then how Celeva has helped him. James, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
All
Can you
right,
hear me?
James. Yeah, sure, loud and clear.
Oh, yes. I'm also the starter, the pioneer few that, started Celeva. Because all this while I'm with Avita, I'm a great advocate of Celogen, knowing that Celogen is very good for revitalizing our cells. So there comes 2021 where we came across this brand, this Celeva, where, as what you say, it protects protects the membrane of the cell. So is kind of a booster to on top of what I've taken. So since 2021 that I've come across Celeva, I've been taking Celeva for about 2 years, 3 years, to 2023 November, because I'm a hepatitis B carrier, you know. And as you know, carrier has, from a Western scientific, is you will always be a carrier. So I did my 6 monthly test because of my hepatitis B status. So regularly. So in last year, November 2023, I did my test, and I have good news from my doctor. And he says that, James, your hepatitis B carrier is no more positive. What have you been doing? So I said, oh, that is good news. So being happy, I told my doctor, say that I will do it, and not, don't worry, I will not stop doing it, given that it's a good news. But so on April 2024, no, I volunteered to do again because I thought that I worried that it is a lab error. So another good news is that, my doctor then called me again and say, Dr. Fong, is my hepatitis B carrier still negative? He said, yes, it is still negative. So from 2 consecutive tests, so it's confirmed that I'm no more a hepatitis B carrier. So I'm very strongly believe that, Celeva has actually helped me improve this status. And with that, I know my insurance, I use the medical report to send to my insurance, whereby previously, because of my status, they has actually excluded liver diseases in my insurance. But because of this good news, they have already actually removed the exclusion. So I'm back to standard health. Back to you, Kit.
Wow. Thank you, James. I think, that story will inspire many that, there is hope too, even if you are a carrier. So yeah, really talk to the friend who's introduced you to this talk. And, I'm so glad that James, was, was so willing to share his story, to inspire many of you. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, I think this topic will be of interest to many people, tackling overweight and obesity. Now, now that, myself, I'm also taking it, right? I actually find that Celeva is a very effective complementary therapy for those who are obese, or even if you just want to reduce undesired fats in the body. And we talk about fats, what we're talking about really, start with belly fats, right? If you see the picture on the right-hand side, belly fats, basically comprises of the two unwanted fat. One is what we call visceral fats and subcutaneous fats. Now, how does Celeva achieve this, right? Now, it actually reduces your belly fats through what we call lipid metabolism. It offers a slimming effect by reducing the cholesterol and fats uptake in your gastrointestinal system, and that's very important, right? Now, let me share with you how you can go about to do the slimming. Now, for optimal slimming, this is our recommendation, right? Depending on, I will guess how overweight you are, right? First, you take 1 to 2 Celevas per day. Now, if it's just a bit of undesired fats you want to get rid of, 1 per day is good enough, or even just for regular maintenance, then 1 per day is good enough, right? Now, but if you do have, quite a fair bit of weights to shed off and things like that, then I would actually recommend 2. Professor Mike Chen himself actually takes up to 3 per day because he says he entertains so much that, every meal. One of the tips I want to give for those who are starting Celeva is actually it's good to take Celeva together with your meal. Right now, if you cannot remember that, then just make sure you take it after the meal. Okay, then it will really help your body to to lessen the absorption of fats in the body, but also it facilitates the getting rid of it. Right. Yeah. I would highly recommend you complement it with an active lifestyle. Now, when I talk about active lifestyle, I'm not asking you to start going running, road marathons or whatever, right? Just introduction, just like what Chong Ping did previously, right? Introduction of something simple and doable, right? Brisk walking for minimum 30 minutes, right? Is very helpful. You find that, this complement, because some of the people who are a bit overweight, over time you also realize that your knees are probably not in too good condition. So I don't recommend you start go running or whatever. Now, swimming is a good way, but brisk walking is probably something which you can actually incorporate very easily into your lifestyle, right? So maybe even just by if you take bus every day, don't take the bus Don't alight maybe at the station that you are going to be alighting at. Alight a couple of stations before, right? And then just walk, right? So simple things like this incorporate into the lifestyle, will make it very easy and very natural, right? Now, I will also complement it with a healthy diet. I would recommend strongly that you can consider cutting off carbs from your diet. Lots of veggie, eat healthy with meat and so forth. For myself, I found that it helps. I cut off all my rice intake, right? I cut off my carbohydrate intakes, and it really help in seeing the tummy getting smaller. Okay. Now, I would also recommend that you can consider complementing it with another sweet cellular nutrient called collagen for a couple of reasons, which I'll explain later. The first is for the cellular nutrient. And of course, the other good thing is collagen has the ability to reduce the food glycemic index by up to 30%, right? Which means less of what you consume gets converted into sugar, which is actually good news, right? So a combination of these two, right? What I call for optimal slimming and health, 1 cap per day of collagen. Now, for collagen, it's a bit different. For collagen, you take it first thing in the morning when you wake up, right? Empty stomach, it fills it with all the cellular nutrients. For those people who are always in a rush, miss breakfast and so forth, then I would say that, wow, this is good news for you, right? Collagen to help you get necessary nutrients you want early in the morning, right? Now, more important, collagen helps to control what I call satiety. It means you don't feel hungry, right? It controls that thing, right? And then when you can get very good cellular nutrients in the body, it also helps reduce your tendency to snack, right? And of course, like what I shared just now, collagen has the effect of controlling the glycemic index, right? Now then, with Celeva, if you are planning to take 2 a day, then I would say, take 1 after lunch and 1 after dinner. That's what I do. You can take it together with your meals. And Celeva is what increases, the metabolism of your fats and also helps you to reduce your visceral fats, right? And of course, with these two combinations, this is where, it starts to bring your cholesterol back into balance. It promotes you back to a healthy body weight, maintains a good blood sugar level, which is very important for diabetic patients. And also, you don't feel hungry, right? Because a lot of your fats actually gets converted into energy and then it actually fuels you for the day. So unlike some of the slimming program where, it leaves you feeling hungry and weak and so forth, by incorporating Celeva, I find that it's a very practical way where you still feel energetic throughout the whole day. And of course, remember Chuan Guan? That's Chuan Guan, right? Chuan Guan, when I went to, and he was so willing to share his testimonial. So, for him, after 3 months of consuming Celeva on a daily basis, his weight actually dropped from 85 to about 78 kg. And it's not just, in here, and this is actually let me share with you. This is Dr. Gail. This is another good friend of mine, Dr. Gail, who's in the Philippines, right? Dr. Gail is a big advocate of healthy lifestyle. At 70 years old, right? She still cycles around the townhood, does a doctor work, and then she loves traveling. And of course, like all things sell, she enjoys good food, and of course, she's put on quite a bit. And when Celeva came out, she actually started taking it daily. And she found that, wow, after taking for just 6 months and she already had a pretty healthy lifestyle, she was so surprised that she actually lost 4 inches from the waistline. And she find that, after she lost her inches and her weight, she also sleeps very well now. Now, I would say Celeva has helped not just, these people, it's helped many people from around the world, well, all the way from Nigeria. This is a very good friend of mine called Grant, right? He was introduced to Celeva, it actually helped him to lose weight. Chong in Singapore, lowered his cholesterol. In Philippines, Mrs. Donna, okay, found that, he said goodbye to his fatty liver. Well, there's no end, Dr. Jeannie. So many people, right? And there's my friend from Australia to Taiwan to China to Japan to you name it, right? All the countries that were in, right? Celeva has now helped many people to, bring their cholesterol back into balance, right? Now, as a summary, if you're just thinking to also just take Celeva for regular maintenance, which I would highly recommend, then, this is really how you consume Celeva, right? Now take 1 to 2 soft gels daily. I mean, up to you, depending on what your condition is. I would say that, if you are pretty healthy, but you just want to keep the rest of your organs fit and healthy, then I would say 1 soft gel per day is good enough. Now, never take saliva on an empty stomach. You might find some discomfort in it. So, always take it together with your meals. Right? Now, I would say allow yourself about 3 to 6 months to assess the effect. Now, especially the first few months when, saliva is helping your body to shed fats in the body, right? You may find that, the readings of the cholesterol in your body might go a bit erratic, right? So, that's not a good time period to assess it. I would say give yourself about 3 to 6 months time frame to assess the effect. And drink lots and lots of water, right? I mean, your body is detoxifying, your cell membranes are being repaired. This is the best time to drink lots and lots of water. Now, I would actually also recommend that, one way to do it is to do your test, right? Go ahead and do your test and have a before record, like, people like, Chong Bing, Christopher, they all did their before test. And then after you take saliva, give yourself about 4 to 5 months, then go and do another test again, right? Look at the LDL level, the HDL level, the triglyceride level, and for some of you, who has concerns about, maybe even your kidney itself and liver function is not so good, you can also kind of do a liver and kidney profile test, and then, gauge and see how saliva has helped you to improve, right? Now, the only thing is, I do not, there are some recommendations. Now, first, I don't recommend for people with soy allergy because, saliva is actually extracted from non-GMO soybean. And the other thing for now, we do not recommend is for pregnant people or also, those mummies who are breastfeeding, because there's still insufficient information or research being done about, taking a phosphatidylcholine complex for this condition. And it's also advisable to consult your doctor prior to taking it. Just tell your doctor, I'm planning to take a choline complex and then see, how that works out. Okay? Now, how do you get started? I'm sure many of you are very anxious right now. Now, we do have a starter pack, which comprises 6 boxes. You are taking 1 a day, that's about half a year of supply. And that should really be a very good way to assess. Now, of course, if you love your spouse very closely, I'm sure that you don't just want to start by yourself. If you want to start together with your spouse and so forth, then I would probably recommend an annual pack, which is about 14 boxes. If the 2 of you are taking, then that's probably about 6 months worth of saliva. Okay, so this will be our recommendation. You can check with a friend who's actually recommended you to this talk, and then find out how you can get started. Now, let's remember, your friend who cares about your health, bothers to share, saliva with you. So now it really is time for you to take action to get salivated. Okay, so I look forward to hearing many more good news from all of you and your testimonials. It goes a long way towards encouraging everybody towards a more healthy lifestyle.